Okay. Welcome everyone to another episode of Elizabeth, and I'm your co-host. There's a few moments of silence there, and evidently I didn't have my music connected properly, but that's okay. I'll rectify that before the show is over. We also have Priscilla G here, and like I said, we're going to jump right into it, and let me open us up so we can see her beautiful face. And all I have to say is that I heard a little bit about what she wanted to speak about, and that little bit was just so sweet in a very informative and powerful way, as always, when Elizabeth comes along. And first and foremost, I want you to go to her channel or open up another tab and go to YouTube. You don't want to close this one. You want to stay here to hear what she has to say. Open up another tab and go to YouTube, and the spelled out right below, Elizabeth. You should know that name already. If you never heard her name because you're new, it's okay. Now you know. Anyway, here we go. And open up. There you go. Elizabeth, how are you?
I'm fine. How are
you?
Is
my sound coming through? Okay, so wait a second, it's like a little delay. So I am here, you're here, and you know, I have a knack for looking brilliant on the broadcast, but I'm a hot mess off of it. I show up at the last minute, I'm unprepared, I bring everything and have a wire missing. I'll put the show on and think we're all grooving and there ain't no music, but at the end of the day, I'm here. And I have to shine for you, just like you shine for all of us. And I really admire your concern for us as a people. And like I said, your numbers should be higher and they will go higher. That's why I tell everybody in most shows to go and subscribe to you, because you bring something worthwhile. You're not looking for hits. You talk from experience. You're well-traveled. I don't know any Black woman, and I'm not putting down my other sisters, but who has traveled as much as you have to have the experience to know you're speaking not from Googling something, but from actually being there. So let me shut up. Welcome, Elizabeth. Talk to us. We had to have the title, Is Winter Really Coming? What do you mean by that?
Oh, yes, because of, just I think the awareness for those who are back stateside in the West, just in general, they need to be aware of what's happening with choked supply chains. And so everything that is happening in Australia is going to move slowly towards the other Western nations. Okay. And I know that the bulk of us are not prepared. You know, you have a large following, and I'm sure that the bulk of your followers are still back stateside because you had organic growth, and that's how you built your platform.
Yes.
And so I don't know if they are truly watching what's going on. You can look at the weather dynamics with fires and water, okay, natural elements, to see that something cataclysmic is likely going to occur as we move into the winter months, okay? And so we need to be prepared. We need to be prepared. As I was mentioning to Sister Ella G here, there is a gentleman here that I follow on YouTube called The Lead Farmer. And he basically does a lot of talking about preparing yourself as well as canning your own foods, etc. He shows you how to do that with the pressure cookers and all of this stuff. He shows you how to can and everything. And so some of us need to really think about what's going on and what's happening, especially because farmers are being told not to harvest certain crops. And as you know, if they take government aid, they have to do what the man tells them they have to do. So there's a lot of moving parts to this, Lance. There's a lot that's going on that's going to feed winter actually coming, and there being a shortage of supply in terms of subsistence. And if we are not prepared, we are going to see just catastrophic perishings happening from people with starvation, etc. So if you think right now with all of the hurricanes that's been going on, the heavy rains, all of the fires out in the West, typically, we have these winter storms. Those are going to happen as well. And if people are not prepared, what are they supposed to do? You have grocery stores that are talking about how they cannot keep items on the shelves, basic items on the shelves, Lance, because of the choke supply chain.
Wow.
So let's say they're ordering, let's say 100 cases, let's say, of bleach. But when the order comes in, they're only getting 200, they're only getting 2 cases of bleach. So that is because of the supply chain. That is because of the supply chain. So we need to be stocking canned goods. If we are not making our own canned goods, we need to be stocking bottles of water. We just need to be proactive about what's coming. We need to be proactive.
Mhm.
And all of this stuff is going to center around crime. Crime is going to soar because you have this moratorium that the Supreme Court has said, hey, now these people can be evicted, et cetera, et cetera. And people who hadn't been paying rent for months, now they're going to be on the street. What do you think is going to happen? I mean, you have to think, again, this spider has a lot of tentacles and is going to be, actually, let's call it an octopus, but he has more tentacles than what you actually see in the picture. So with all these moving parts, there's going to be, it's going to be real. It's going to be real. And if we have not prepared ourselves as well as our families, we are going to find ourselves in trouble. And that goes for all businesses. It's just not just, let's say, for persons. I mean, you have, people who are in hospitals. We're going to be having medical supply shortages. All of this stuff that's coming out of China, because China is the biggest manufacturer in the world. We get a lot of stuff from them. And that's reality. And so even with these truckers who are going to strike, I think they were supposed to strike actually 2 days ago in Australia. They have been under, like, on the dark web, telling the truckers stateside on how they can basically strike in the States. If we have no truck drivers moving their trucks, how do you think you're supposed to get stuff in stores?
Right.
And because like we're not like Lance sitting in Ghana where we can grow our own stuff, what do you think is going to happen? People are going to be at the mercy of the government. A lot of this goes back to Black people who are wanting a lot of liberalism. This goes to us always trying to feed into the liberal agendas that go on in terms of our politics. This is all a part of that as well. All of these chain weather reactions, man has begun to play with Mother Nature, and Mother Nature is ready to start beating up on some folks. Okay? I mean, you can only play with things so much and don't think that they're not going to retaliate, because they will. I mean, we really cannot control water. We can segregate fire, but it will spread.
Right.
So, we're going to find ourselves in a pickle here. And so the subject here is winter really coming? Yes. And are you prepared? That's really the question. Are you prepared? If truck drivers in America say, okay, well, on September the 30th, they are going to strike and not move, are you prepared? How long can you go in your house without going to the store to get some items? What can you survive off of? Are you able to have, let's say, 1 meal a day? Do some intermittent fasting so that you're not consuming all of these meals, so that you can actually save some things. Are you able to do that? These are questions that we need to be asking ourselves if this is possible. We need to be asking ourselves that, because it's going to come. It's getting ready to come. It's getting ready to happen. So something is going on. I mean, look at all the fires that's happening out in California right now.
I know.
And so these fires, they're not able to truly contain, excuse me, what's going, excuse me, what's going on. So we really need to think about this. We need to have a dialogue on how we as a people how we need to prepare ourselves for what the inevitable is. And it's not that anybody is trying to fear monger. We're talking about reality here. This is already happening. Australia is going to be your test case. Look what's happening right now. Look what's happening in Australia right now. And so that is going to permeate into these other countries. I don't know if you read the article. There was an article out, Sister Ella G, that came out in France where they are asking people for the panorama card so they can go into grocery stores. And if you don't have the card, you can't go grocery shopping for your family.
I heard something last night, but not about France and the panorama card. But I heard about the fact that a lot of areas, you can't go into the grocery stores. You can't go into like even the pharmacy. There's just a lot of places that are vital that you can't go to unless you have that card, or unless you can show proof that, you've taken care of certain things,
Well, and so when you look at these other, what we call industrialized nations, that is going to perpetuate itself in the America.
Yeah.
We're not going to be left out. Now, of course, you're going to have people who are going to try to fight against it, but sure, they can only to a point, because even if they have another uprising, they cannot make all of these truck drivers get on the road.
For real.
Yes. And truck drivers, they have mechanisms that they can put in place to lock their trucks. I'm not talking about door locks. I'm talking about where they can lock the axles where the truck cannot move. It's the same tactic they use in Australia. So they're talking. They are talking. So we're on the precipice of something catastrophic here that we have never seen before. Not in our lifetime. We're on the precipice of something. And so my Black brothers and sisters, you all need to get together and get on code and take care of a little business, because it's going to be ugly. And this is not gonna matter if you got millions of dollars, because whether you have millions of dollars, if you don't own trucks, and if you cannot drive trucks, the trucks are not moving.
Right.
So, now, in essence, you're going to say, well, what I'm getting ready to say is quite horrid to a point, but this is going to separate. We're all going to be equal at this point, because this will not matter how many millions of dollars you got in your bank account. Okay. You're going to learn what it means to be equal on all footings with your fellow man, regardless of status quo and socioeconomic status.
Right. That's another thing that they were talking about too, is having all this money. And they were, this person was actually talking about all these stimulus checks that they're getting ready to start popping out on people, basically on a monthly basis. So you're going to have all this money sitting in your bank account, and, people who are hooked on money, they're going to be like, yeah, man, I got this, I got that, I'm getting this money, but there's nowhere to buy food. So what are you going to do? Eat the paper?
This is what I'm saying.
So this shows that it's engineered. This thing is engineered, and me being the resident conspiracy theorist for many years and ridiculed by people that I know and don't know, you really can't get out of it. And what you're saying is absolute truth. But let me just tell you, how many people are paying attention to Australia and what's going on there? Most people live in a bubble. They go to work, they come home, they go to the supermarket, and I've been saying this for years. And I don't care who in my frenemy circle doesn't like it. You made fun of me years ago. You thought I was crazy. You put me down. Now look at what's about to happen. You can't deny that this is engineered. The timing is too impeccably executed.
Yeah.
But see, most of us still won't see it. You'll tell them and they'll still be within their bubble and they're not going to make moves to do what you said, even if you stay where you are. I'm not even saying you have to come to Africa. You have to come to Ghana. I'm not saying that because those things will be felt here a little bit for the people in the luxury apartments, even here. And they're going to want to take money and buy property up in the mountains somewhere. And the people that are selling the property are going to be, you're stuck. And they're going to charge even more. And then with the COVID thing going on, right? They're going to probably ramp it up and say there's some other delta to the 10th power thing coming out. And we're going to lock the borders again. You're going to stay where you are, all your money, can't do nothing. And the real winter will come and you'll be hungry. You have children. They must be fed, right? They don't know nothing about this. Mommy, I'm hungry. You got a piece back there up under your mattress or somewhere. You're like, we're going to get this stuff. What you going to do? Rob the bank and get some money that you can't use? What you going to do? Stick up the supermarket manager for food that's not on the shelves? It's up to you. Whatever move you're going to make, you're going to make it now. But wherever you are, you're going to feel it to a point. But if you're in the inner cities and the bigger cities, trust me, you're going to feel it even more. So get somewhere if you can, and then you'll see no value in clutching and holding on to the things that you have. Oh, that luxury car is not going to help you. You can drive around, look for a supermarket, burn gas, and have money, not money to drive. Your gut starts talking to you, you're going to feel it. And you're not going to feel good when you see your children, you see your elderly mother or father, your neighbor who you get along with really fine is going to be like Dawn of the Dead. They're going to be coming for you. So even though you stock up, even though you prepare yourself, is not being selfish, but you got to keep your mouth shut about it. Take care of your own. You're going to have to. All you saved, see, is going to be, they're going to kick in your windows, knock on your door. They're going to come and put a pistol in your head to get the stuff that you have on the inside. So if you're going to build a 6-foot wall, if you can build an 8-foot wall, raise a ribbon, cameras, and have that little thingy or that little thingy in there and be ready and have the balls and the guts to use it, because those coming for you, they ain't coming to say, well, let's negotiate. If you keep from them what they think they can get, they're going to come to snuff your life. This is how bad it's going to get. See, population control, we get so caught up in, well, they're going to do this and do that. It'll happen instantly because those who are in your midst are going to turn on you after 2 or 3 days. And you know, have you been hungry for 2 or 3 days? Most of us can't go a couple of hours without eating. Train yourself, like Sister Elizabeth said. Train yourself to not have to have meat, not to have, live off of vegetables and fruits. And if you have and you prefer that, keep it where it is. Even a power source. If the lights go out, do you have solar power? All of these things that the survivalists have, they won't look too crazy when this thing happens. You call them nuts because they're not depending on the system. Well, I don't have to worry about that, you know. Oh, here, they'll always say the government don't give a damn about you. And even the people in the supermarket, the managers, what you think? Something jump off, they're gonna pull up their truck, take everything off the shelf and bring it home. They're not gonna leave it there for you until it runs out, and they're gonna be hungry too. Let me shut up. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
You're right, though.
No. You're absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. Because most people, like you said, with the bubble, and people don't realize what a supply chain truly looks like. And so if one was just to draw it out on paper, just to say where they get, let's say, apples from. Okay, so we could even say the apples are coming from Mexico, all right? Coming south of the border into the US, all right? But how are they going to move if the truck drivers say they on strike? How are they going to move? So something as minuscule as apples, okay? I mean, we still have Scott Paper Company in Louisiana to make toilet paper, so while people are running out to these stores lotting up on toilet paper, it's gonna, I mean, you can use leaves for that, but that's another discussion for something else. The stuff that you really need to be thinking about
Let me just say, let me cut you. I will use my hands and wash them after. The toilet paper one day is going to run out. You might find something else out there. You might have to find a thin little bush or tree and just kind of slide down on it. But you're going to have to do something. That's not the most important thing. Designate a rag with a little more abrasive, whatever, and scrub it out. It's going to get toilet paper. Give me some food. Sorry, I had to say that. You won't want to shake hands with Anthony. Yeah, true.
Well, and you mentioned saying maybe you don't have to do with meat. I mean, but they can do canned fish or, excuse me, basically smoke their own fish. I mean, again, I gave them someone, Lead Farmer, who is a brother on YouTube, and he has a lot of videos about preserving food in different ways. Okay, I mean, he does canning, preservation of fish and stuff like that as well. So there are things that one can do, but there is still ample time because it has not transpired yet.
Right.
But the hiccup is going to come since the truckers are gearing up, and we don't actually know the date that they are going to say, okay, set this strike in motion. I mean, you just don't know. And so what the prices of the little things that are left in these stores, the prices are going to actually skyrocket as well. So you can get creative as well with your food. I mean, jackfruit, you can use jackfruit, as you know, on tacos and stuff like that. You can use all kinds of mushrooms, oyster mushrooms, but one would need to go and get that stuff and start the preservation of it now.
Exactly.
And it goes back. Yes, and it goes back to when Lance was talking about how most of us live in a bubble, and I'm not calling it a conspiracy theory. I'm talking about basic common sense about supply chain development. Okay, and with everything that's going on, you have to ask yourself, what is going to happen? Something is going to happen. People are not going to be forced into taking the jab. They just are not going to do it. And so that is the purpose of these truckers striking. And then people, like some of the articles, you know how you have comments at the bottom of the articles with the truckers in Australia. They were saying, people trying to say, well, they're selfish. They're going to mess up everybody else because they have to. Listen, they have a right to not want to do what they want to do as it pertains to their own body.
That's right.
That's their right. And what I eat don't make you crap anyway. I mean,
for real.
Hey, they got planters where you can plant stuff in these planters, and I mean, get on your job. But you can't. I'm not angry with them for wanting change in terms of themselves, because as you know, worldwide, especially in industrialized nations, most truck drivers own their own trucks. They're independently owned. So the ones who are owned, let's say by grocery stores and stuff, they still have to pick up things from like pickup points. And those pickup points, that stuff has to be brought in by other truckers, which are not owned by those, let's say, those grocery store chains. Because a lot of them also do sub out to independent contractors. No, we got to be smart. We have to be smart. We're smart about everything else and all this sensationalism that comes across their social media feeds. Right. Now it's giving color people's time. Now, where are you going to be when all of this sets in motion? Now, I'm going to tell you something what's going on here. This is a little unknown fact about the UAE. Because these folks are always on the cutting edge of just technology and everything. What many people don't see when they come here, Lance and Ella, is that out into the far desert regions, this government owns all kinds of standalone like warehouse facilities where they have cold storage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They've been preparing for this before we even knew about it. Because, you know, like when we would go to different cities here in the country, you know, you would pass, but you're like, why do they have all these freaking warehouses? What is out here? They've been preparing. They have been preparing. These are cold storage places and stuff. And I'm saying you're in the car, you're driving, and you're just wondering, like, why are they way out here in the middle of nowhere? Because you get into, let's say, Ras Al Khaimah or wherever. But that's what's happening here. Let me tell you something. The U.S. government is not going to do that for its citizens. They're only going to do that for the president and his constituents. Or what the constituents, meaning the people who are in his immediate line. The rest of us not going to get that. That's just the facts.
Exactly.
That's the facts.
And this is the thing. Proximity to other people does make a difference. Whether it's in America, whether it's in Ghana, whether it's in Czechoslovakia, whatever. Again, you want to move to some place or go somewhere where it's warm, where you got good soil. And you know what? For me, this was part of why I left. Part of it. I belong here. I love it here. I can live the best that I could with minimum stress. But you cannot tell me that if you live in downtown Atlanta, that it's going to compare to where I am and where I will be, where there will be miles and miles of open space with less of a population, and the population that's there next to me has their own land and is growing their own stuff. They won't have to bug me as fast. You see, things grow here. It's all over the place. You see the neem that you get in Whole Foods and health food stores, a little bottle of it costs so much. It grows out here, even in the city part. You see trees, huge, nothing but neem. They walk past it because it's in abundance. You go outside of the city more, you can see miles and miles and miles of mangoes just falling off, miles of them. So if you're somewhere in an inner city, it's worse. You want to get away from the people. You know, not to say you're a hermit or whatever. Forget about going to the club. Forget about all these other things. Get away from people. Bring your family, if you want, as far away. No, you don't have to leave the country. And it's not running. Because if you figure that that's the case, when this jumps off, you're going to wish you ran. Because all these people you grouped up with will be coming after you if you have the time and the space to save your stuff up. Are they doing it? You can do it all you want, but they're going to want to see, hey, wait a second, you picking your teeth like you just ate something. You got anything by your house? My baby's hungry. And if you don't give up what they feel you have or watch you, they say, we never see him trying to, look, if I was out there in a bigger city in America and I had this big place with all this stuff stored up, I'm not cruel. But all the years that I've been talking about stuff like this, I did not predict this. I'm not what's his name? The guy who makes the prediction, Nostradamus, right? I'm not him, but I can see things way off. Like when the Native Americans can see the sky this way and see the moisture and see ants crawling around and say, you know what, it's going to be a bad storm coming. You didn't want to hear it. So many people say that to me. Well, I'm not running anywhere. Okay, sit right where you are. And I'm glad that I ran, because I don't run from nothing, but I'm smart to know I can position myself strategically so I don't have to run and be scared that every window I have might get busted through. You're going to run out of ammunition. You're still going to get hungry. You got to come out. So let's get busy and do what we can do. Normal that we know is never coming back. It's never coming back. It's never coming. Well, things get back to normal, it ain't never coming back. Wake up from the illusion. That's right. Talk to me, sister.
You know, it's interesting that you say, because people do try to say that a person is running away. And that's not what it is. Because as I just mentioned, the farmers in America are being stifled by the federal government. So if you don't grow your own, what are you left to do? What are you left to do if you don't grow your own? See, people have to be logical when they make these presumptions that someone's running away. And what does running away have to do with one wanting to try something different? Nothing. I mean, we're not going to bash you for staying there. All we're saying is giving you a heads up. And it's not anything about fear mongering.
Right.
The proof is in the pudding. I'm going to, throughout this stream, keep reiterating that the world, understand what I'm not talking about in one specified location. And your test case is happening right now in Australia, okay? But the world's supply chains are being choked because of what went on starting in late 2019, which has been perpetuated to current today, which is August the 29th, 2020. So just as my brother Lance said, we're not saying for you to move. But he is saying if you can even get to a rural area and do something on your own, you can. But there's also a brother who invented this planter system where you can plant your fruits and vegetables in like these planters. He was on shopblack.us. And so, but again, see, this is getting ready to separate the men from the boys. This right here this is going to tell you who is for real and who is not. Now, one of your commenters in the chat, Lance, said, all you have to do is to watch The Walking Dead and you'll see all you need to know. Now, I never followed that entire series, but I have heard, since we've been talking about these supply chains being the lines being choked, that this is being reminiscent of that. So it's interesting that people are making those in terms of being parallel about what's modern day happening versus what's in the movies. Okay. And so even with Dean Kootz's book, he's deceased now, but he already predicted this in 1981 in his book. So all we're telling you to do is you need to be prepared, however you can do that. Again, there are Black farmers here sitting here on YouTube that are showing people how to do what they need to do because they know what's getting ready to happen. And these are not farmers who have, let's say, these huge, gigantic farms. They're normal people, but they farm on the small parcels of land that they have. They talk about solar as well, having solar on your home. Okay. So, but we need to be vigilant in what we're doing because it's going to get ugly. And, it's what always, and Princess Elegy and I were talking about this right before the trip started. When we think about our elder parents, and most of them in their ages, they can't fend for themselves. They are going to be a part of collateral damage. People who are sickly are going to be a part of collateral damage. When these people who have chronic illnesses, we could talk about diabetes, Crohn's disease, a lot of these illnesses, and they have to take certain medications, X, Y, and Z. Well, a lot of these labs, you can talk about Pfizer and all these other companies. The bulk of these labs do not sit in the US of A.
That's right.
They sit in China. So when you talk about medicines that these people need for daily living, that's going to be choked. All of this is going to be choked. So what are we doing about this? But our elders and people who have chronic illness, they are going to be a part of collateral damage. It's sad to say, but that's reality. We have to be realists in everything. Yes. Even though things may tug on our heartstrings, we have to be realists about what is going on. We have to be realists. And things, it's going to be real interesting. It's going to be real interesting. Look how many typhoons they've had in 2021. I think they've had more in 2021 than they've had in quite some time when they do like the single year calculations.
Right.
So you got all these typhoons, you got these hurricanes coming, you got these fires. Mother Nature is getting ready to give a beating to folks. I mean, I can't blame her because we've been sitting here playing with the weather, manipulating the weather. We have been manipulating the weather. And then we're talking about global warming. I'm just saying, human beings have been doing treacherous things to Mother Nature. But we cannot power her. We don't have that kind of strength. The only thing we can do is typically adapt to Mother Nature. But when she decides that she wants to give her children a spanking, she's going to give her a spanking that is, hey, one we've never seen before. And that seems like what's going on. And with these supply chains being choked, that means you cannot get ships on the water. No containers on the water.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just want people to think about how everything feeds everything. You got to think about it. This is a serious domino effect, a greenhouse effect in that sense of how things, one thing falls the next and boom and boom and boom. And what are you doing to prepare yourself and to get yourself together for when the season comes? Didn't you hear your vice president, Kama Sutra, okay, Kamala, talk about getting Christmas gifts like right now? Now, I can't stand her. I can't, you know, I can't stand her. However, she knows what's going on. Supply lines choked. She knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Now she's not going to tell you specifically, but she knows what's going on. Now she's sitting over here talking about Christmas gifts, but she hadn't said a darn thing about this food supply and this medical supply lines. But see, that's how we get caught up too, Lance. See, we like shiny things. That's that shiny shit. See, you concerned about some damn Christmas gifts.
Shiny red things.
And you need to be concerned about feeding yourself.
Right.
But I bet you when she said it, folks were sitting back at home talking to their family and friends. I'm like, ooh, child, I better start getting these Christmas gifts. She is right. Okay, well, when it gets here, then how you gonna eat? You gonna eat the clothes and bags and crap that you buy? I mean, hey, you folks better wake up. It's time to wake up and stop being lazy. Get off your keisters and prepare. Preparation. You folk prepare for everything else, most stuff that is inconsequential. Now it's time for you to really prepare for your own survival. Are you going to do it? Will you do it? Have you started yet? Or was it in your mind because you heard about these supply lines being choked, but you just forgot to get around to it, and now the three of us are talking about it, and you're saying to yourself, oh my goodness, I put it in the back burner. I had better get started. Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes. Everything, Sister Elegy, is. Go ahead.
No, I'm just agreeing with you. Like we were talking, I mean, I'm seeing things that are going to be happening, and it's a little frightening, especially when, like Lance was saying, try to get out of town. And, my situation is like, well, where the hell am I going to go? And
Yes.
you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
I know, listen, you wouldn't have to say it twice. You wouldn't even have to say it once.
But
everybody knows she's coming over here too.
Yeah.
Well, no, because she and I were talking about this before we got started, and it's interesting because her Sister Elegy's situation is not unique.
No, it's not.
It's not. However, we may have to think outside the box. I mean, just even for your own person.
Yeah.
How because it's not just going to hit individuals. It is going to hit every capacity of business. Everybody's going to be hit, and so what are you going to do? It's no secret on why these companies now cannot employ people, because people don't want to work anymore. Just watch what's going. I mean, it's so many moving parts that you really can't per se wrap your head around one, because you're distracted with the other tentacle, and you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening. But it's just so much going on. But we get easily distracted, as you know, by other stuff. But we're gonna have to think, like in these situations, such as yourself, how we can think outside of the box as it comes down.
Right.
Because
right.
It's coming.
So like right now, what I'm doing is actually you know, storing up medication for her. So I'm actually, you know, ordering, you know,
Yes.
reordering before I need it, you know, especially her insulin. I'm just trying to, you know, I'm giving it time and then I'm reordering so I have enough, you know.
Yes. And you know, here, so here's something else. Since you brought up insulin, here in this country, because this country is an Islamic state, most insulins have a derivative from pigs,
Ooh,
but not here. But not
really?
here.
Oh God.
And so because they don't have they don't bring in medicine that has derivative from pigs, what they do, what they have been doing is of course using these other protocols for the insulin that they sell here for people who are diabetics here. They may have, because they are always on the edge of looking at and forecasting as best they can, stockpile that kind of stuff up. Because as I told you, they have all these freaking warehouses, and I'm just like, what is out here? But it's been out there, you know. So the preparation here it's just a little bit different. You have to remember as well here, they don't even have 1 million, they don't even have 900,000 in the body. But what the government here has realized, because they have so many expatriates here, their survival depends on that, and they have to prepare for everybody. They can't just prepare for themselves, because of course then, because there's no numbers, they would be doomed themselves. So they have to prepare for everyone. But I'm sure that they've already looked into that. But that is something that, you know, again, because I said it and you mentioned it just now, these medical supply lines, this is serious business.
Yes.
This is serious business. And folks have got to do a lot better. And with what's going on with Afghanistan and these refugees and the refugees coming in, you know, I did a show the other night and I talked about this one-sided relationship with damn America and us melanated folks, black people in the West, how we just keep getting the short end of the stick. It's not that we don't have an issue with immigrants, but at what point are we going to be placed first like everybody else? When do we get to be number one? It's not that we're asking for any handouts or anything, but all of that's, listen, these people, they are not thinking about melanated folks. So since they are not thinking about us, we have got to do some group economics. We have got to do some co-oping together. We have got to do some good bartering together, because that's eventually what's going to happen. And Lance, you touched on it too when we talked about people knowing what you got as the subsistence begins to shrink. People are going to say, well, Ella G, what you got in your house? So you can't be talking to folks. See, and it's sad to say, you're not going to be able to tell them all your business. You're going to have to be covert and methodical about the language and vernacular that you use.
You got to find those hiding places in the house.
Secret rooms. Secret rooms. If you have a 3-story home, that 3rd story, because you want to keep it off the ground floor.
Don't say it.
Right? Get some. Well, I mean, you know, like I said, and we know, like I said, the main thing is to live as far away as you can from the masses, if you can, and also go around people who have their own stuff. I want to live around people who have big yards, growing their food, doing the right thing with it, right? So
absolutely.
Everybody's going to feel it to a degree, but you're going to feel it less when you position yourself correctly. Doesn't mean you have to have several machine guns or whatever, because once the word get out about that, they have a death wish now. Like my father always told me, another friend of mine always did, when he moved into a different neighborhood, you know, he'd pop off a few shots late at night. And the people who had something in their mind where when they were moving in, they had that nice TV. When they were moving in, they had that nice couch. They drive that nice car. They got money. Let's go over there and hit them. And also catch a few something. So like I said, you do things to slow them down. The wall, the razor ribbon with the barbed wire. People say, well, I didn't come out here to live like. No, you got to have that stuff. It slows them down while you take aim. You know what I mean? And even if you have to use poison arrows or something and hit them, and you're gonna have to be ready to kill people.
You're gonna have to be ready.
No, and it's not about well, the Bible says do not kill. Well, I mean, look at the ones who are saying do not kill, and they killing all over the world. We're talking about survival.
All over the world. So this is
if
why
you're coming right, if you're coming to do harm to me and kill me, you're gonna get it first. I'll have compassion on you if you have compassion on me. But if you come to take what I got, right? And I'm kind and I'm loving and I will help you maybe. But right now, all this time, you cannot feel sorry for the people who, did you hear what's on the reality TV show? And so, or let me go get this weave. Or man, I want to get them ribs, man, whatever. You weren't thinking, oh, that damn Lance, he's always talking that stuff. He's a conspiracy theorist. Well, forget about me. No. I'll just be a nut somewhere living good.
That's right.
But it's funny. It's funny, Lance, because you mentioned about saying the conspiracy theorists, and you didn't know how this was going to pan out. You always felt something like this could happen, but you didn't know how it was going to play out. Well, this is not a conspiracy theory.
Right.
Again, as I'm saying, people have to be clear-minded about one simple thing. We're asking you to use your cognitive dissonance that you use for every freaking thing else, okay?
I only said that, I'm saying the
supply lines are shortened. When supply lines are shortened, what are you going to do? Especially in the West, since we have gotten away from doing all this stuff for ourselves, and you're depending on the government to make sure that things is moving here and there and there and there. See, this is what all this good liberalism gets you folk. See, that's part of it too, because a lot of times we have become an enemy of ourselves and we didn't even know it. See that? You ushered in all this crap and then figure out how it was going to cycle back against yourself. But you thought you were doing good because you didn't like somebody. Now, you know, I can't stand a whole bunch of folks. But at time, I recognize you may not like them. They have a purpose. They have a purpose for something. Right. Maybe you can't figure out. Yes, maybe you can't figure out what that purpose is at that particular moment. But they got a purpose for something. I can't stand a whole bunch of folks. They make my ass hurt every chance they get. Okay. However, they serve a purpose, just like everything within ecosystems serve a purpose. And so even with us, especially someone mentioned this in your chat too, Lance. Somebody in the chat is in the Netherlands. And they said this is happening right now in the Netherlands. This is what I'm saying. I wasn't even focused on the Netherlands because Australia is out of control right now.
Right.
But I did mention about what's happening in France with the groceries.
And China is on the water. So that's another thing, you know, China is on the water. So even if, you know, they've shut down a port, there's still a lot of food production that probably can't take place because the land is oversaturated or there is no land to plant on, you know. So there's a lot of things going on that's affecting everything that's going to be happening.
Totally. I mean, again, it's going to take a serious domino effect. Yeah. And even with someone here in the chat as well saying that, you know, you have a lot of single women, and so that they're going to have to they are going to have to band together.
Right.
Because when people find out with all this shortage, because look at the crime has skyrocketed across America, and especially in these big cities. You know, Houston, they are having a violent crime surge. And I mean, robbing for just stupid stuff. And then if you don't have it, they are just killing people. People are, yes, it is crazy. And someone, maybe a cousin or relative or something of mine sent me a message that they said, Detroit used to be the murder capital. Houston is working its way up to be the murder capital. It's getting crazy. It is getting crazy. But as single women, I get what the viewer was saying is that there's going to have to come to a point where the women, single women who have no men in the house, they're going to have to band together.
Right.
Because again, as I said, I don't know if you a person that watched Empress Elegy, this series, The Walking Dead, to see what's like what
No,
happened. I never watched it, so
I
I
never
can't really.
watched it at all. I don't watch television. You know, I really
Okay,
don't get
okay.
into it. So I hear about it. It's been recommended to me as being a really good series, but I've never watched it.
Okay, yes. But so now reality in everything is in our face. And so we're gonna have to make some hard truths, some hard
Yeah,
decisions
yeah, yeah,
about, what's going on. Even with them telling people they can't go here and there without these cards and stuff, but yet you can still get this other, it's cousin. I mean, so if I don't take the mama, I still get the cousin. Like what?
mm, mm.
It's like you all got to stop. The propaganda machine is
Mm,
real, and
mm, mm,
and we're
mm.
too busy
Now you see
wanting.
people in Italy, they're burning theirs. They're banding with, with the people who are not looking for the mama or the cousin, and they're
Oh,
and they're burning their mama cards. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
wow. Okay,
Oh
I
yeah.
hadn't, because again, I
Mm-hmm.
have just been so, and even um in my daily work, we have been talking about this issue with Australia because this is getting
Yeah.
ready to. All eyes are watching over here. That's a huge population of people, and the entire
Right.
country, they are out of control over that. That is going to begin to move elsewhere, and it can
Yeah.
move to the right and start right in California, and then it's going to make its way. But
Yes. Yes.
something is happening. These people are not going to lay down and allow this to go on.
Listen.
But we've made the mess.
Oh God. We always thought, and I said it before, we always thought the revolution was gonna, because a black person sang the song, we thought the revolution was gonna be us. But the revolution is gonna be them, because the freedom that they're accustomed to is being violated and stripped away from them. So, you know, that's where the revolution is gonna start, you know.
Yes. Yes. And it's interesting too, when Lance was talking about Empress Elegy, the land aspect of it, and I'm just seeing some of the comments here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this I said that this is going to affect the world. We
Yeah.
know this because, as I said, for those of you who are just joining us at the beginning of this, I said the port that's closing because China is the biggest manufacturer in the world in
Mm-hmm.
all facets of manufacturing. By them closing this port, yes, it is going to affect everyone,
Mm-hmm.
everywhere, all trade lines into every country. What
Right.
Lance was speaking about is that is why he decided to make his repatting to Ghana, because he wanted to get more land and farm for himself. Now, most of the things that are going to affect industrialized nations have to do with food
Right.
because most of their food is imported. People who are in these African nations who farm for themselves, that's not going to affect them because they can still make their own fertilizers and their own animal feed out of nature, etc. But it will affect those who don't. Those who do not farm, as Lance said, those folk will be affected.
Right.
Those folk will be affected. So yes, it's going to affect the world. The
Mm-hmm.
world is going to be affected. It's going to be
Yeah.
like a nasty cold sore that spreads all over your freaking face.
Right. It's like he said, the people that live in the high rises and the apartment complexes in in the city center, they're the ones that are going to be very affected in other places, like even in Ghana, because a lot of people, they want to leave the countryside, so to speak, and go into town so they can live like the Westerners, and
Mhm,
they're going to get
mhm.
caught up when the lack comes. There'll still be food in Africa, but some people are going to suffer because
Yes,
they won't
yes,
they won't have it readily available to them.
Yes, yes, yes. And so, you know, even with all these different uprisings in these different countries and stuff, you just let them do what they do to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You just sit back and watch, and just playing, like you say, you playing with the meds and things, and
Mm-hmm.
because you're gonna have to do something. It is going to be crazy.
Right. Another
I
thing,
don't
you
think.
know,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm sorry. There's that
Mhm.
delay. You know, for those of us who are here and trying to figure out how we can stockpile, you know, I mean, a lot of people are saying they don't want to do canned foods, and who don't can get some canned foods. Get some canned foods. I mean, we may not, that's not the staple we run to, but get some canned goods. And another thing is get yourself a good food saver machine. You know,
Mhm.
get yourself a good food saver machine and start vacuum sealing things. You know, I have a freezer and I'm about to clean my freezer out today. After this show, I'm about to clean it out and throw every damn thing that's in it away because we hardly ever used it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I'm
Mhm.
about to do that, and I'm going to start just piling up stuff in the freezer. You know, freeze your
Yes. Yes.
bread, you know, vacuum seal your breads. If you eat bread, whatever kind of bread you eat, vacuum seal your meats, your vegetables, just vacuum seal everything and just put them away, you know.
And that's a great
For those of
solution,
us
though,
who are
sister.
here and trying to figure out how we can stockpile.
That is a great solution, Princess Empress Elegy. Because I didn't even think about the food saver. Because yes,
Yeah,
that will allow you to dehydrate and seal it, and you can tuck it
exactly.
away. Yeah, totally,
Exactly. Yeah.
totally. I mean,
Because you know,
that is
people are
very
wondering, well,
valuable.
how do we save food? How do we do such and such, you know? And those are things that sometimes we don't think about immediately, you know.
True, true.
Even
And
if you
then you
cook it, you food save it. Yeah.
yes. I was gonna say even with that with the cooking, and that's what I was gonna touch on.
Hmm.
That's when you start to put the salt in there so it won't go bad.
Right.
Because if you just yeah, so it won't go bad. But because that doesn't require refrigeration either. See, that doesn't require refrigeration.
Exactly.
Yes, because if we, just happened maybe some power outages. I mean, look what happened. Look what happened to Texas
Oh
this
God.
past. Yes,
Hmm.
yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, we have seen telling signs, my sister. We have,
Hmm.
we have,
Hmm.
and it's heart wrenching that most of us are not thinking like that. But you gave that was a very good solution because yes, let's offer the folks some solutions. Let's
Right.
offer the folks some solutions because it's getting ready to be colored people's time. I mean, if you folk can make stews and you have somebody that
Yes.
can share with and you all, commune together in that regard, then, do that as well.
Yes.
Do that as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Uh, Learn how to, um, you know, salt out your fleshy foods and stuff so that you can preserve them. So, because stuff is happening. I mean, you all have got to
Hmm.
start putting these puzzles together. This is a puzzle. And all you need to do is to start putting the puzzle together because
Correct.
something is on the horizon. We're at the precipice of something.
Caribbean folks, start getting your salted codfish and vacuum seal it, you know.
Say again?
I said for the Caribbean people, start getting your salted codfish and vacuum
Everybody's gonna
seal
want to
it.
do
Yeah.
You know,
that.
vacuum seal your
Let me just
salted
say,
codfish. Huh?
think on all levels. Think on all levels. Like, say, for example, this has nothing to do with food, but start to think different. It happens in the mind first, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
And
Hmm.
you'll find that if the more time that you have to prepare, the drop won't be severe. It's severe for you, right? Think
Yes.
of it now. Say you live up north in America or in the cold regions anywhere in the world, okay? What if the heat's not on? What if you can't afford to pay it? If that's the arrangement, why don't you have a sleeping bag? Everybody should have sleeping bags where you can save that body heat instead of sitting up just being up under one cover. No, why not get a sleeping bag for your feet when you go out? If it's cold inside and outside, you need to have a good pair of waterproof or water resistant boots that come up high. You see, because those little shoes you have that when you walk around to a point, what if you have to just deal with cold 24/7? I mean, freezing below zero cold 24/7. You better know how to take a quick shower if you have water in cold water. You have to learn how to take a shower or wash yourself if you have just one little small, not a bucket, but just one of those big pans and you fill it with water. You can get to some water. Or can you go to a source of water in the freezing cold to wash yourself? I'm not afraid of getting naked. You know what I mean? I'll and do my thing, quick dunk and get out. But can you toughen your mind up that all the things that we depend on, that we're going to have to do for ourselves without any aid? But the clothes that we wear, do you have a good coat that you can wear? That can with the gloves. You know, on Instagram, they have these gloves that you can punch windshields and try to stick nails in it. Think like that. Because you're going to have to go into combat.
That's true.
Can you scale a fence? Can you climb over something? You don't have to be an Olympic athlete, but toughen up a little bit. You're watching TV, lay in the back, do a few crunches, all those simple exercises with your own body weight. Get yourself tough and used to this. Eat less. Try to get away from the fast food and other things that you may become addicted to, and learn how to love the food you make under those conditions. And to just kind of curtail your taste in a certain way. It's just very important on all fronts. The food is number one. Don't worry about the toilet paper. Toilet paper comes and it goes. It's going to run out quick anyway, you know? So just across the board. And I'm going to be bringing, and I'm going to shut up after this, I want to bring people who are survivalists and ones who are with the whole preparedness thing. Now listen to this. You might get mad at me, but if they bring the information that we can use and it happens to be a white man or woman, don't be mad.
It is what it is.
Because when stuff jumps off, if a white man who might even be racist, yeah, boy, here's some food. I'm hungry. I'm gonna take that bad boy. I might not give him none. You know what I mean? I'm gonna examine it when he gives it to me. But for the concepts, so we have many of us who are in the, well, I don't consider myself in the conscious community because that means something. I'm not a hotep Negro just arguing about things and asking for donations. No, we roll on all fronts over here. But for the sake of information, I don't care who it is, we need to get this information out. And if somebody specializes in this and will share freely the information, I'll take that over the next one that looks like me, who don't want to share nothing with me. And I'm not talking about the food, because I'm going to be cool with the food, but things that can elevate our mind and preparedness. And those shows I'm going to tell you probably will get the least hits. That's the sad part about it. Go ahead.
That's true.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree. One of the chat persons mentioned about it snowing in Brazil last month. I saw that. This is what I'm saying. So we're all seeing the signs, but we're playing as if nothing has happened. Those of us who are clear-minded, is what I'll use. You know that something nefarious is going on, and just as Lance said earlier, we're not even talking about per se population control, because this is going to make everybody equal. Everybody's going to be equal when this happens. See, how much money you have is not going to be anything worthwhile except using it for toilet paper. Because this is how we're going to say and separate the men from the boys. The survival, what is it? The survival of the fittest. Isn't that how the cliche goes?
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
That's right.
So we know that something is going on. These weather conditions, how are you going to be able to survive? And you know, it's funny. I'm going to interject that with this. I happen to be talking with someone how years ago, I remember being a kid, and you may remember this too, Lance, when they were talking about the usherance in of making all these fruits and vegetables stateside GMO. And the contention was in the 80s. You may even remember this too, Ella G. The contention in the 80s is that there was not enough food to supply the amount of replication in terms of population increase on the planet.
Right.
So this is why we needed to scientifically and genetically modify fruits and vegetables, even though we know that modification has been happening for quite some time, but not on this kind of scale. They're doing all kind of mess, okay? Stuff that we never intended for it to be going on. So in saying that, okay, so now we've ushered in, we did what you said since the 80s. We brought in this GMO. You got GMO and you got this fake organic, because to me it's really all fake, but whatever. The interesting thing is, so what are you saying now? You genetically modified all this stuff, and now it's not going to be able to last because of these freaking man-made weather conditions that you all are doing.
Right.
So you still can't feed the people. The lie you told was it wasn't going to be enough food to feed people, so let's go ahead and modify stuff. Now you're still not going to be able to feed people because these supply lines are getting ready to be shut down, and because America does not make her own stuff, and she is stifling her own farmers, and you all's best friend Bill Gates is buying up all this arable land. What do you folk think are going to happen?
Let me just add in. You know, it's so funny because as much as they brought in that GMO argument back in the 80s, and yes, I do remember that, and I remember like why, right? And I'm always thinking the sinister reason behind it. And while I may not have figured it out back then all the way, I'll say this: the whole GMO food thing, we know it ain't real food. I don't care how much it looks like you splice it with this pig gene and monkey, just to sit on the shelf longer. For me, that's more profit, right? And you have this stuff and it sits on the shelf longer because real food spoils. That's where they're really going at it. And I'm gonna tell you, there is enough land to grow food if the population of the how many billions is it now of people on the earth?
You mean on the continent of Africa? I think is 1.4.
But I'm saying the whole earth, because it's going up fast, right? But what I mean to say, whatever it is, if you double it right now, there's still more than enough places in the earth to grow food. They're telling you this because you don't know. So there was a sinister reason for back then. But what I'm saying is that, okay, you'll eat anything if there's nothing around. But if you can grow your own stuff, whatever, I want to say this, that anything you modify, how are you going to modify over the natural? Anything you change, you're reducing it.
Right.
That food, fruits and vegetables, whatever, does not feed and nourish you like the real thing. It does not nourish you like the real thing because it has been tampered with, and your body knows this. You are actually, I'm not going to say poisoning yourself, which you are, but you're depriving yourself of the full range of nutrition that natural food has. Okay, it's just like when you drink Tropicana orange juice and it tastes so good, even though it has not been modified to the core, and maybe it did come from oranges that were modified, but let's say it wasn't, it's still pasteurized. It's a dead, enzymatically dead food. The juice, the enzymes in it that are responsible for life force are dead. So all you have left is glorified sugar water. This pasteurized, homogenized, or even if it's not GMO, it's like a cross-dresser with size 13 pumps, a huge softball like Adam's apple, dressed up like a woman talking about, oh, I have to use the women's restroom. No, you're fraudulent. Because if you dig a little deeper, you'll see it's not what it's supposed to be. Okay, your woman, go in there with that man for a couple months and let's see if you come up pregnant. It ain't gonna happen. It wasn't made for your body and you're starving yourself. That's sister.
You know, it's interesting that you say that, because I did do a video recently about, you know, the U.S. government is trying to consistently push GMO on Ghana and Nigeria. We know that Ghana sits in the smack dab at zero lat and zero longitude. Zero longitude. And actually, zero lat and zero longe sits in the actual water.
Water, yeah.
It's actually, but that's off the coast of Ghana.
Right.
Okay. And so it makes you wonder. The most arable land in the world sits on Mama Alkebulan, and all we want people to do is to grow GMO, because they keep lying, saying that they cannot feed the citizens, when we know that is, as you said, that is untrue. And even the lady, I happened to mention this before, the lady down in Tanzania who bought into the Bill Gates scheme for planting these seeds. They provided her seeds for her farm and all this, gave her some help, fertilizer and all this stuff. And she harvested, had a good yield, and she made money and all of that. Well, come time for the next planting season to get ready to harvest for the second season. And of course, they said, well, we can't help you. You have to go buy your own seeds and all this stuff. So she did, and she had her children to go out there so they can get ready to start, making the mounds for planting and everything. And her children told her, we can't even use this. The soil was too hard. It wasn't, you couldn't plant it. It was unplantable. And now she had went and spent all this money on seeds, and the land had become compromised because of the previous harvest.
Yes.
So even when the commenters here in the chat are talking about that, that's correct. When they are using these fake seeds, they cannot be replanted, as we know. This is why we have to have our heirloom seeds. And those folks who are trying to plant and use planters to plant stuff in their homes or whatever, you need to get heirloom seeds. So that's another solution as well. Make sure that your seeds are not compromised. Heirloom seeds are going to cost you more money because they are natural. Don't listen to these folks that tell you, talking about, well, Monsanto owns all these seeds. I don't care. Monsanto, if you open up yourself a papaya and you want to remove the seeds from the papaya that you are eating and plant those seeds, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Oh, so they're going to enter every home across the world and tell the people they cannot plant some papaya seeds. Get real. But that was by design too. For them to go around here and control all of the seeds for all these various plants, fruits, and vegetables, that's telling itself. Why would you want to do that? See, something nefarious, you already had something nefarious going on for you wanting to do that as well. So we got to be mindful of all these tentacles on this snake, on this octopus that is just all over the place, and put everything together, because you cannot isolate them. They are all working in constant concert like a fine old orchestra, baby, at an opera house. They are all working together. Just because you see one and it is so egregious, you can't focus elsewhere. Remember, they are all working together. And then for the folks who are planning because they see what's going on, that is awesome. That is awesome. We just need to be more like-minded in our approach, because many of us, listen, this shiny shit got some of you folk compromised. Yeah. I mean, shiny. You, girl, those earrings. So you all have got to get it together and focus on and see what's going on, because something, as I said, something is bound to happen. It is not going to bode well for a lot of us. It is not going to bode well for a lot of us. And I talk about collectivism all the time. This is why we have to work together. We seem like that we are having aversion against being with one another. I mean, we got the most beautiful skin on the planet, but you seem to have a problem with working with your fellow brother and sister for whatever stupid reason. Now, most of the people that know me personally know I am not the religion person. I'll work with you, but just keep your religion to yourself, okay? I'll work with you, but just keep it to yourself, because I don't want to hear nothing about it. I really don't. But so we have to, at times, put whatever small thing that we do not agree with, put it to the side, and let's get to the business of getting to the business. We cannot, at times, we cannot get to the business because you all want to say, well, if she don't believe in the Bible, then I can't. Really? Me not wanting to follow that book, what does that have to do with us working together and helping each other? We need to be unified. This is why you have all this tribalism mess going on, because you folk do not want to get off your soapbox about other mess that precludes us from getting to the business of getting to the business of getting to the business. And that's your problem right there. We don't want to work together.
Let me tell you, it's funny because those who, in their foolishness, who have burnt bridges with you personally, and their arrogance and wanting to feel whatever, or they don't like you, and I ain't talking to you, and I'm not, stay where you are, because hunger is going to make your ass come to me and apologize. You know what I mean? But I'm not on it like that. You know, just if you're so high and mighty and you are doing good, more power to you. But for those, and I'm talking about everybody who may have that kind of person, if you're prepared and they know you are, and they see what you're doing and they don't know, of course you're going to help them, but they're going to have to come to you, because those situations are going to bring and break them down and make it where they understand they truly have to work together, and not just because they want to use you or they just go on saying it, but they're sincere about it. This is going to teach a lot of people some seriously big lessons when they see who's truly in their corner.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's going to force you to work together, but it's a good thing, because some of these people act like they can't be brought down to their knees. And this is going to humble a lot of people. It's going to make them see, like, all these people who don't want to talk to you because they're a Christian and you're a so-called non, you didn't say there's no creator. Somebody made you. Look how intricate and how powerful you are. You know, you're better than any computer. Computers don't walk and think independently. We do. We are the ultimate computer. They copied off of us to make a computer. We get crazy over cars, but that's ancient technology. They have more things more developed than that. You understand? But we worship these things, and we don't understand in our fullest majesty how powerful we are if we get the ultimate tune-up in our characteristics and in our being. That we are not an island, but these people, they go on crazy like they are. If you with the madness, stay right where you are. Also, the white Jesus, is this stuff jumps, or the black Jesus? You sit there and you wait on him. We ain't hating or whatever, or saying there's no creator, but you're going to worship, and your very pastors, they gone. You didn't gave them the money. They got their place wherever, and you will never see them anymore. That's right. How this thing is going to play out. And you'll be crying out, oh, Jesus, come back and save. Look, if Jesus didn't come save you at the time of enslavement, all those hundreds of years where they were bringing us over and had churches inside the slave dungeons, aka what you call castles. The white Jesus was right there while you cried out. The white Jesus was right there when the slave masters and all those who ran the castles would pick a few sisters to go up in the bedroom. Where was Jesus? But while she was getting screwed over or screwed, she had to hear the church songs at the same time. Y'all are sick, and you need to worship the righteousness in each other if you have any. And understand that we are truly sisters and brothers, right? But no, I have a better job than you. You can't. Or I have a secret handshake over you, so I got to act like I'm cool, but I'm not cool with you. All these different man-made statuses that don't mean sugar, honey, iced tea, a.k.a. shit.
That's right.
Exactly. You know, it's interesting. One of the commenters said, just on what you said, he said that typically, you know, when we get together, nothing good comes from it. That's not necessarily true. I mean, all of the sciences that on Earth and all of that came from us people, melanated folk, black people. But what we are struggling with, and have done so for some time, because we want integration, we have struggled with getting back from whence we cometh. That's what we've been struggling with, because we want acceptance from folks who don't look like us. The self-hate is real. That's self-hate all day and night. And it doesn't matter if you agree with it or not. It is what it is. You don't have to agree with it. I'm not going to convince you, but that's what it is. If you can't work with people that look like you and put aside crap that doesn't matter to get to the business, that's some self-hate. Because you can go right with your opponent and get with them and work just fine. That's how you know you full. It's mess. That's how right there you know that it's mess. But when it comes to what's getting ready to happen now, even as Lance was talking about the passes and things, when the supply shortage is going to make us equal upon equal. Okay, it's not going to matter how much money you have. Now, what it will do in this regard is that you may find that in the beginning, some people may pay goo gobs of money at the beginning, but then that's going to run out because the other people are going to be looking like, well, shoot, if I sell the little that I have, what am I going to have for myself?
Exactly.
So eventually that's going to stop. Now, I don't know if that show that, we were talking about, Sister LG, if The Walking Dead ever covered that, but eventually how much money a person has is not going to matter. Eventually that is going to come to a standstill, and all men will be created equal as they were for real.
That's right.
See?
That's
yes. Right. Because we are created equal, but the problem is that we don't see it that way because we got too much shiny mess that you all like to look at.
That's true. Okay? That's true. See,
yes,
we use money, we use money as the thing that separates us. Money is what separates each and every one of us, to what degree you have a certain amount, So when that time comes around where the money really has no value or no use because you have nothing to purchase with that money, that's going to be the great equalizer.
Yes. And see, again, because we like such comedy and shenanigans and all of this mess, like somebody said, yeah, we too busy making challenges and mess. But again, I said, we want to see a bunch of shiny shit. That's what we want to see. But I want to see how many challenges they're going to do when they realize no food is going to be coming in.
Right.
When the real challenges come.
Look, and they haven't prepared by getting that food saver machine that Sister LG mentioned. I want to see how many challenges you're going to be doing then.
Right.
Everything can't be for play. And it is disheartening to see, especially these people who call themselves parents. I'm not saying that we can't have fun, because nobody wants you to be a stick in the mud 24 hours a day, 900 days a week. Nobody's saying that. But it is disheartening that everything is all for play. Children should be able to play, but when you all start playing these stupid games, you're going to get some stupid prizes. And the stupid prize in this instance for winter, the stupid prize for this winter that's coming, it's getting ready to be called life. Real life. Real life. Okay? And have you prepared.
Exactly.
We want you to be prepared. Now you all go on over there and follow Lead Farmer. It would be great if we can get him on your show, Lance. It would be great because he would do a great service here to the people.
Most definitely.
It would be great to see if we can get him on the show. Okay. But you all going over there and invest yourself in some solar, some panels. The food saver machine, as our sister Empress LG mentioned. Learn a little bit about how you can preserve things, because that's what it's going to boil down to at some point with these choke supply lines. And with people being forced to have these cards to go get basic items to survive, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Everything about your personal being is going to have to do a complete change, just as Lance said earlier. There's some things about yourself you're going to have to change, and it's going to have to change immediately, because you won't have years to change it about yourself. You're going to have to change it instantaneously. Like most times when you think about things and you say, oh, I want to change this about myself, you give yourself some time to make these adjustments in your life. No, some of these changes that you need to make are going to have to be, boom, split-second decisions.
Right.
So you can get it together.
It's not going to be easy.
It's not. It's no one ever said it was, but we have. But we are an agile people. We are agile. We have made it through some of the most horrendous things known on planet Earth. We are resilient.
Right.
So we can do it. Now, some of the folk who are still into the shiny shit, now they ain't gonna make it. Because they're gonna keep coming back to you, Ella, and saying, Gary, why you doing all of that? What? Child, I'm going over here. Okay. And then be coming knocking on your door to my girl, you got some bread. You was out there when you was out there playing, you didn't save some? No, I ain't got no bread for you. I gotta take care of my mom. Hell no. I don't have nothing for you. So when you want to be silly and all of that, no. People who are living reckless and not paying attention. Listen,
right.
In every revolution, I always say this, Lance, in every revolution, there's casualties.
That's right.
So weeding out the men from the boys and survival of the fittest, then we're going to have some casualties.
That's right.
I mean, a time is coming because something is going on. It's amazing. You know, even when you, if some of you folk have older parents or older grandparents who are in their 80s and 90s, and they see what's going on, I'm sure you're hearing the stories. If they, are still of sound mind, saying that they never thought they would see anything like this in their life because they have been on Earth for quite some time. And what they have witnessed, they've never seen anything like this.
Right.
So when you hear them and they talk about things such as what's getting ready to happen, pay attention with a tuned ear. Pay attention. Because they could be speaking some very truths that maybe you just don't want to hear, but they're spot on and accurate. They are spot on and accurate because of what's transpiring. So yes, winter is coming, but are you prepared? Oh, she's coming. She's coming. We'll see if Lance can link up with our brother, and because it would be great. It would really be great.
Yes.
That would be great. The lead farmer. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I'll make it happen.
Definitely.
I'll make it happen. Yes. You'll be right there too.
I'm gonna be listening because I'm telling you, he drops a lot of knowledge. But you know one thing about him too, Lance?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Angie Young says she watches him as well. One thing about him, see, he's a little older. You and him may be about the same age if he's not a little older than you. But what he does not do is give everybody all the keys. He makes you research stuff because we are lazy.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
He will tell you that in a minute. in a minute, okay? So be mindful of that. You all have got to stop relying on everyone to give you everything you need. We all have strengths and weaknesses. Where someone is strong here in area A, I mean, I could be strong in area B, and she could be stronger in area C, etc. And we work together to build a unified front. But sometimes we have got to stop depending on, let's say, Lance just to drop all of the keys.
Right.
No. Do some work too. One, you're getting older. We need to feed your mind. It's time to feed your mind. So remember, if you're hungry, seek knowledge, and you will be fed. Now that's coming from the book of Lizisms. And no, you cannot buy that book. It is not for sale.
I want that book. I want that book.
But I want to thank you guys for your time. Thank you, Lance, for having me and everything. Mr. Untouchable, he is called the lead farmer. The lead farmer. The lead farmer. And no, Mr. Untouchable, I am not sharing my bread or what minuscule portions I have with folks who have been lazy. And I'm ruthless. I'm probably not as nice as Empress Ella G, because I'll let you stay over there and starve. That's just me.
And she will too.
And you're gonna say, "I'm over here." Okay. Just saying.
Elizabeth doing you a favor by speaking on this and getting you up and ready to prepare. That's what she's showing you. She's not just gonna give you fish. She's teaching you how to fish.
How to fish.
She will help you and smile the same way when it's time. Look, it's just like two fighters who sit at the press conference, they shake hands and they smile. When this press conference is over, we get in the ring. I gotta feed my kids. I want to get the next big pay-per-view. I'm trying to take your head off. I'm a sportsman. We'll work along or whatever. When it comes time, you gotta be relentless. You have to be. What is this slackness for? You know?
Agree. You know what's interesting, Lance? Because Cherie, and she's in the chat. We were talking about, as well as Nana Kosowa. You know how when you have true organic food, like when you're in Ghana, when you're in all of the nations on that Kebulon, and you're having authentic organic stuff, not the designer food that you folk are buying in Whole Foods. I'm talking about real organic. The stuff only lasts no more than 3 days.
Yes.
And I had all kind of stuff that we had bought up in the mountains of Abri, okay? And we were chomping it down and all of that. And you have to eat it like that unless you're going to use preservation techniques to make it last longer. But because the stuff is truly organic, it doesn't last long like that. So your body has that natural food in you, and you just feel so good. You feel so good, you know?
Exactly.
You feel so good. So.
Because it feels so good to be fed so bad.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, sweet bites.
Yes. Well, thank you, Lance, for having me. We're at an hour and a half. I want to say thank you again for having me on.
Yes.
This was the quickest hour and a half I've experienced.
For real.
I mean,
we could have stayed on for 5.
We could have stayed up. I'm waiting for you to go longer. Are you kidding me? What?
I know.
Oh my God.
But that's how she does it. Every time we end the show, it's a sorrow that comes over us because we want more. But I'll say that
we'll try to do twice a month until we see what goes on. We'll try to do twice a month.
Okay, look, that's up to you because you can say every day, let's roll. We'll do it.
I know.
You know, that's one thing you know about me. I'm about that life.
I know.
This is
anyway, my music wasn't really working earlier, so I don't know if you can hear it or not. So I'm not even gonna wait for
we're not hearing it.
You can't hear it.
No.
We didn't.
Okay, I'm gonna have to rewire stuff. So we're gonna end this out without any music. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
No problem.
All right.
Take
Everybody
care, my dear
go and subscribe to Elizabeth.
Yes.
And we're gonna end this out. And maybe we don't need no music right now. Maybe we just need to just end it like this so they don't get taken away in different thoughts and stuff. Because this was hardcore. And I thank you so much, my sister.
We need to go do our research.
In 2 weeks, I'll be looking for you. All right. I'll be looking for you. I'll start next week. All right. We're gonna do some more things later on, folks. You know how it goes. Beatrice Noel's gonna come back on. We're gonna do something separate. I have some uploads, doing some work to do here. So you're gonna get a couple things, right? Just look for it in the different social media platforms, and make sure now to go to Elizabeth's YouTube channel, spelled just like that, and subscribe. And I'm hoping that when you go and check, you'll see a jump in your subscribers because you deserve it. You know what I mean?
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Yes.
Take care, everybody.
Take care, sis.
Thank you so much for being here. All right.
Yes, sir.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.
All right.